We're doing it. Here we are. It's a little past 11. Excuse us, but here we are. I'm here again with Karen Wagnon, human behavior specialist, master trainer, mama, and author. So we're talking about how to tame the teenage attitude. I think this is such a great topic. We're also going to talk about, what's normal. And I think that can be challenging, right? Because we don't know what to expect. Like, is this normal? Where did they cross the line? Like kind of that kind of thing. My name is Dale LaCure, and I help families create health and harmony using holistic mental wellness solutions. So, Karen, thank you again for being with me every Monday here at 11 Eastern Standard Time. So, take it away. What is normal, first of all? What can we expect from those years, those teenage years?
Yeah, the teen years just become turbulent. I mean, I believe there are many seasons of parenting, but when we get to the teen years, just when we think that we've got a routine or things are going, all of a sudden the switch gets flipped and there's this attitude and you're like, what the heck just happened here, right? Just when you think things are going well. And honestly, those of you who have followed me, you know that I talk about my son Kyle had always been strong-willed. So when we got into that, yeah, it got a little bit harder. It got a little bit firmer, but I was even starting to see it in my sweet kids. And I was like, oh no, not all of them are going to become like this. How am I supposed to handle this? And the more I understood what was happening to the biologically at that age, then I could better understand where it was coming from. Because I always say there's always a root to behavior. We tend to want to punish or discipline the behavior, but if you don't get to the root, the behavior will continue or escalate. And it escalated because I started to react to the behavior. Any parents out there begin to react to this behavior? So when I started getting short comments and sassy mouth and back talk and ignoring me, I was like, whoa, this isn't happening in this house. And all of a sudden I got, oh, you think it's not going to happen in this house? I mean, they may not be, but that was the attitude. So what was really going on and how do I transition through this period and keep my sanity, maintain the relationship with my kids? So this is what I found out. We know that biologically things are changing. So their bodies are changing. But the first thing I want to talk about is the brain development is changing. So the frontal lobe of reasoning, the little walnut-shaped amygdala, okay? I mean, I'm getting a little detailed, but this is starting to form and develop. And when that's happening, they become a little bit more, I can say assertive, but even aggressive, like angry, okay? It's brain development. And with that, also is the hormonal changes. So their bodies are changing. They're getting hair. They're where they didn't have hair before. They may start to have an odor, that they didn't have body odor before. Girls are starting to get their breasts are developing. And so things are changing. Hormones, brain, all of this is happening at the same time. And they're trying to figure out, how do I manage? Like, they're living in this as well. And so, I don't know, Dale, we're both women and we may have moms and dads who listen to this particular podcast, but ladies, we know when we go through hormonal changes, like, I become the junkyard dog. I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? I just wake up feeling mean. And so do they. So do they. So they don't have a handle on how to handle it themselves. And then we start throwing fuel on the fire, right? You can't talk to me this way. What is going on? And then it just escalates. I do this exercise when I do my live trainings. If you were to put your hand out here and I pushed against your hands, you would probably push back because you didn't want to get pushed over. So when we start pushing on our kids, they start pushing back. And what do we want to do? We want to push harder. Some of us are shoving harder. So besides the fact of what's going on with them in their brain and emotions, physiologically, the emotional changes are they're becoming more independent. And so they're pushing away from us because they feel as though they don't need us. Now, they don't need us as much per se for simple tasks that they do by the day, right? I mean, they can probably do their own laundry, they can tie their own shoes, they can probably get a meal together if they had to, but it's the other connection in the relationship that they start pushing back from us. And I'm not going to kid you. It hurt. Did it hurt you? Because it hurt me. You know what I mean? It made me sad. It made me sad because what I thought I knew in my relationships were now like all over the place again. It was like scrambled, and I needed to find a way that it was going to smooth it out so I could maintain the relationship. It was just going to look different. It wasn't going to be the same. I wasn't going to be able to belt out a command and think that they were going to follow it, because they wanted a little bit more control over their life. They were developing their self-identity. They were starting to have views that maybe not have been the same as mine. And was I going to react, or was I going to respond? Was I going to value and appreciate the diversity and the individual thing they were becoming, or was I going to try and put them back into the peg hole that I thought they should be in? And this is when they start to push back hard. So it is a transition. And I think as parents, I know I did, I took it personal. It hurt my feelings. And when I'm hurt, I'm hurting back. Because I've said it before, hurt people hurt people. So when my kids are mean to me, I start being mean back to them. Now, maybe not every mom did that, but I did. And realizing I didn't want to be mean to them, but I didn't like the way they were treating me. So what I'm going to be going through in this particular crash course is not only understanding biologically what's going on with our kid, but what is the root of some of their behaviors, and how do I adapt as a parent my interaction so I can get to the other side of this.
So they
still have a relationship.
So they still, like, even though they don't want to spend time with us per se, they still, and that can be really hurtful. You can take that like and just be like, oh, my baby, no. But how do we still continue to connect with them? Because I feel like if we find a way to do that in a different way, that we're going to have less conflict. And so that's one question. And then, like, in terms of when they do like talk sassy, which, you know, and have their little attitude, how do you respond to that? So two questions.
Great question. And a lot of those things I'll be covering in the crash course, but let's do that now. Based on their personality, because you know everything I do is grounded in understanding personalities and temperaments, our interactions will change. So if you have more of a defiant child like I did, they need choice, challenge, choice, and control. But choice was the big thing for me. So I had to offer choices within my boundaries and not be as much as just directive. Like I would give them more of a directive and tell them what to do rather than give a choice. Okay, so I had to do that. The other thing is, if you have that inspiring child, you need that recognition and giving them those affirming accolades, but it just needs to be touches. It's not that you're going to be like this anymore. They're going to be kind of circling around your house, and you'll have an opportunity to engage in them. Our more supportive kids are more reserved, a supportive personality. They just need that affirmation, and just know that you're there for them, but that you're not infringing on their privacy, which of course is with a cautious personality. They're very private with their feelings and their thoughts. And if you push, the more you push, the more they're going to shut down. If you just let them know that you're available, eventually they will come to you. There have been a number of clients that I've been working with just within the past week, Dale. I'm telling you, some of it just brought me to tears because of the breakthroughs they're having, because they've changed their interactions from what they were doing in that parenting style of that particular season to what I've now coached them to do now, and the breakthroughs that they're having where they are starting to have conversations that they did not even think were possible a month ago, because we changed the way we interact. We can't continue that mode of parenting in that way and think that we have to open the gate. We're giving them more responsibility, helping them develop their identity. And then, of course, there's still boundaries and consequences, and these are the things I coach about too. So how far do I open the gate? When do I close the gate? Those types of things is what we will do with the coaching until we get to the other side. And the other thing was needing to know how to deal with my emotions when I felt this way. Because you know what? When my kid is sassy to me and I want to pop them in the head, probably not a good idea. So, then I talk about your self-care. How do you manage your emotions so that you can get through the season? Look, I can understand my kids going through stuff, physically and emotionally, but they're still acting like a jerk to me, So how do I deal with my emotions? So the strategies of working with that behavior and then dealing with your own emotions until they moderate out, which they will. I'm telling you, you will get to the other side and things will start to come around again. But I'm telling you, those turbulent years are. Did I answer both those questions, Neil? Did I answer both those questions?
Yeah, I think so. So I'm like, I always believe that we have to look at ourselves first. You know what I mean? And maybe not hear the way they're saying it, like with their tone, because sometimes when they have the tone, we're not even hearing what they're saying, because all we're doing is hearing the tone, and we're like, what?
Yeah.
So I think like what you're saying, like understanding where they're at. And we are the parent, you know what I mean? So we have to be the guide. We have to change what we're doing. And then they're going to change the way they are acting. That's for sure.
If
So
we
I
go
guess,
back to the emotion, so
yeah.
let me give you an example. So with my son Kyle, a couple of things that I would use when the tone got really sassy is, I'll be happy to talk to you when your voice is as calm as mine. Because guess what? My voice could go even higher than his if I let it. You know what I mean? I could get into that yelling match, but when he would start to get aggressive, sometimes I'd be like, think about it before I needed to react and not respond. Hey, seems like you're upset about this. I'll be happy to talk when your voice is as calm as mine. If I had to repeat that, I'll be happy to talk to you when your voice is as calm as mine. I'll be happy to talk to you when your voice is as calm as mine. If
Love
the
it.
voice doesn't get calm, then I could go to, maybe we need a break and we can come back and talk about this later. Now he could be relentless. I want to talk about it now. And I'd say, and then I'd be happy to talk about it when your voice is as calm as mine. Now, when I've repeated that, Dale, he would eventually bring it down.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we needed to separate and come back and talk about it later if the emotions were too high. Okay.
Yeah.
And the other one I just put into a tip, and it was posted in a couple of groups. It's in mine as well. Was the I love you too much to argue. Sounds like you want to argue about this. I love you too much to argue. I love you too much to argue. And again, that is something that I would calmly repeat to my child, because I could get hooked into an argument and start saying very harsh things to my kid that probably had nothing to do with the argument where it started, because I get hooked into the emotion. Just like you're fishing. You're fishing, you bite the bait, next thing you know, you're fighting the fish, and you're fighting the fish, and next thing you're fighting each other, and it had nothing to do with where you started. And so I had to stop that because that was damaging the relationship. Too many parents, me included, got hooked, bit the bait, and got hooked into the argument. And I wasn't going to do it anymore because I didn't like the way it made me feel. And I was saying hurtful things to my child because I was going to put them in their place. So whatever I was thinking, you know what I'm saying? We just get caught in that emotion. I'm not going to let you treat me this way. So I'm going to go down in the gutter with you. And that's not where I wanted to be. I needed to model. I'd be happy to talk to you about this when your voice is as calm as mine. Or, honey, sounds like you want to argue about this. I love you too much to argue. I love you too much to argue. So they were two skills that really helped me to bring down the emotion in a way that was still going to be positive in my interactions with the child. So that's just a couple of things that I share over in Karen.
Yeah. So that course is going to be amazing. But just let me say this, like, for two things. First of all, it's never too late to turn things around with your child. I had to turn things around too when I got into the teen years, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I had 4 other kids. It was craziness. But I learned and we communicated. And something else that I think is important for parents to understand, our kids don't want to be in conflict with us, even though it seems that way. They're just trying to be independent because that's the natural course of their development. And so if we can learn these skills, and Karen's going to go into deep into it and guide you through it. And I think, and I took parenting classes when I got into some muddy waters, and I wish I had someone like you that, like, one-on-one kind of guide me to get there faster. But, this is all normal, and it's just a matter of us, like, learning some other strategies, keeping our emotions in check, and knowing that your child and you don't need to be in conflict. Like, that can change.
Yeah. It's going to be different through that time because they want their self-identity. It is not cool to go to the mall with your mom anymore. It's just not.
Right.
Your kids are not, they're going to school. They don't even want their friends seeing you dropping them off. I mean, this is how it is. And, and I had to accept that, and I had to remember when I was a teen, I didn't want to be seen with my mom either. I mean, not that I didn't love my mom, but you just want to feel that you're mature and I don't need my parents and and you're cool and all that stuff. And that's where they are. I have to think back of how was I as a teen. And I was brutal. Okay, I was brutal. So when I see it in my kids and then it hurt me, I realized how much I had hurt my mom in doing the same things. I owe this woman a big I'm sorry, I'm telling you. And then when you start to see it cycle again. So a lot of the moms I work with say, you know what, I have to remember how I was as a teen. But now I'm on the other side of it and I don't know what to do with this part of it. And that's why I want to be able to coach through understanding what's really going on biologically with that child, because they don't always have control over their emotions, and we can either smooth it out or make it worse. And in the way we react, okay, or respond. I'd rather respond appropriately than react in the emotion. But what do I do with the emotions when I'm feeling this way? What do I do with the emotions? Because, parents, it's like, I can give you the things to say, but when you're still that upset, what do you do with that emotion and that energy so that you can be calm? Because at some point, you keep stuck in that emotion, you're going to blow at some point on somebody somewhere, So we really need to be able to manage those emotions, our emotions as well, as we're getting our kids through those years. It is not easy. I mean, I'm going to be first to admit it. So anyone I'm working with that's in the teen years, I'm going to say it's not easy. If you make it through with not a lot of carnage, you're doing good. You're doing good, but expect it. And I think some moms, it's so hard and it's so hurtful, and we're afraid that we're losing what we had with our kids. And what do? We try to tighten up. We try to and get it back to where it was, instead of accepting, okay, they're starting to grow and blossom, and my goal now is to prune them so that they can grow to be the amazing little people they were meant to be, and not try to stifle their growth, because I'm trying to peg them back to where we were instead of helping them develop who they need to be.
Yes.
It's just, I'm just telling you, it's not easy, but we can do that.
But it's
doable. Yeah, totally doable.
Yeah, and you just have to, get the tools that you need so that you can preserve and nurture that relationship. And then when you get through it, even though it's different and you lost that little one, you know what I mean? It's also very rewarding to see them be on their own and be successful and be happy. And that's really what we want.
Being independent and doing things on their own. I think for a lot of us moms, it's like we are mourning the fact that our child doesn't need us anymore.
Yes.
Now, and look, Kyle used to talk to me about, like, he knew everything about anything he didn't, and I was like stupid or something, and that used to really annoy me. You got to be second on your son. But I mean, I had to process things with him or let it roll sometimes, and not let myself become defensive with him, because he was so strong-willed in his beliefs and his values, and that's fine, but not engage in that. And again, depending upon your personality as a mom, your parenting style is also going to be, some of our more supportive moms, or our cautious moms, who are definitely more on the reserve. I mean, this is hurtful to them. Or if you are a perfectionist mom and your kid starts running rogue, I mean, you're losing your freaking mind right now. How do I get them back on track? And it's like, how do I deal with allowing them to become who they're meant to be, being able to guide them and prune them to be the best they can be, more fruitful. And then dealing with my emotions in the process. It's a growth. I think it's a growth for us through this period of time. I don't know if you remember that, but I had a lot of growing to do right there. I really did.
Yes.
And on the other side, I'm not going to say that they were all perfect and easy days, but the tools that I share through the Parenting Blueprint will give you strategies of knowing how to apply, what to apply, when this happens, and you're not feeling so frustrated and at the end of your road, because I don't know what to do with this behavior. We usually wait until we get to that point. I'd rather share these tools with parents before we get there, so that they are already feeling confident. So when it comes, they know it's coming, and I know how to deal with this.
Perfect.
Not that it can't be, just like you said, it can definitely be fixed. But I need to see parents go through this at all. It's not, you don't have to.
Yeah. All right, Karen, thank you so much. We'll be back next Monday at 11 Eastern. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you soon. Thanks again.